Everybody, good morning to meteorologist Travis Klineski here on this Tuesday morning. A couple of things worth noting. We actually do have a frontal boundary about right in here. It's kind of a stalled out boundary right now, so it's not shifting much, but it is going to lift a little bit to the northeast as the day goes on. It kind of shifts or separates wind direction, more of a west and northwesterly wind here, whereas the winds are more northeasterly there. So that is going to lift to the northeast, and there's also more clouds north and east of that boundary. So your thickest clouds today are going to be in the northeast. We're going to get a lot of sun today in the Tri-Cities area. Winds should not be terribly strong out there. You can kind of see, if you look close, there's a little bit of a low pressure system right in there. And in fact, I'll back this up one more time. I'll do this one more time. That low situated about right here, it just kind of pushes slowly to the east as the day goes on. Tonight, we'll continue with the light northwesterly winds. Mostly clear skies initially, but then thicker clouds start to come in from the west. We'll still see mostly clear skies across the southern areas here. It's northern areas that'll have thicker clouds. A little bit of limited moisture here in far northern Nebraska. Most of the snow, though, as we head into Wednesday, is going to be north of the Nebraska and South Dakota border. As we play this out for your Wednesday, pretty quiet weather. One thing I do want to point out, by the end of the day Wednesday, right about here, cold front. It's going to be sinking southward here, and that's going to be driving pretty quickly southeast as we head into Wednesday evening. So it's still going to be mild for those of us that are ahead of the front tomorrow. These areas right in here will start to see dropping temperatures late in the day. It's going to be colder up here in the north and northwest with that front. Again, far northern Nebraska skirted by a little bit of snow. Well, I'll erase everything off of here. You can see the cold front's going to be pushing south. For some reason, there's some data outage here on my Futurecast, so nothing shows up for from 3 o'clock to 9 p.m. Right here. Look how it just pauses, 3:30, and then it doesn't come back until after 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock there. I don't know why that is, but that front by about 9 o'clock is basically going to be situated in southeast Nebraska, low pressure system near Falls City. And then all of us will be dealing with some brisk northerly winds. So if you have plans for maybe a date night for Valentine's Day, maybe heading out for Ash Wednesday's church services, might deal with a little bit of brisk winds out of the north. I don't think we'll see much moisture. I'll back it up a little bit, at least to the 8 o'clock time frame. That moisture in northern Nebraska moves on out, and we'll see some partial clearing as we get into early Thursday morning. The winds will start to calm down as well by Thursday morning, but it will be a chillier day heading into Thursday. So let's take a look at your temperatures these next couple of days. Highs today back up into the 50s for most of us, maybe some places in the upper 40s in the north and northwest, but most of us should get above 50 later on today. Should be an enjoyable day. I think the two colder areas, extra clouds here, and then also still some snow on the ground out in the panhandle. Tonight's temperatures, tomorrow morning, mid to upper 20s and low 30s. Then tomorrow afternoon, still pretty mild for most of us into the 50s, even nearing 60 in the southeast part of the state. But notice the difference in that with that cold front diving south here. I'll draw it in one more time. Right in there. Colder 40s and 30s to the north. And some of these spots right in here may actually see a drop in temperatures during the afternoon as that front makes its way through. Looking at tomorrow night into Thursday morning, most of us are going to see lows in the 20s, near 30 or so, low 30s in the southeast, upper teens around Valentine. And then your highs on Thursday, cooler. We'll see 30s and 40s for highs. Warmer the farther southwest that you go. Chilliest temperatures will be up in northern Nebraska. We're going to feel more of this on Friday for more of the area. Let's check out that 7-day forecast first the next 3 days. Mild today and tomorrow in the Tri-Cities. The breezy winds will come more towards tomorrow night, right in here. Thursday, not as breezy, low 40s though for highs. Then we're down in the low 30s for a high on Friday with a chance of snow. I'm going to talk more about that snow in just a bit. But right now, it does not look like a major issue for us in the Tri-Cities area. It will mostly fall between Friday and noon, midnight and noon on Friday. So midnight Thursday night to noon on Friday. It's less than a 12-hour period, a very fast-moving system. Shouldn't have too many impacts for us in the Tri-Cities, maybe more impacts as you go towards northern Nebraska. It will be a bit on the breezy side, though, with that front, maybe almost windy, in fact, on Friday. So those that do see snow, especially up north, blowing snow could be an issue. After a chillier night, there Friday night down in the upper teens, we're warming up. Saturday and Sunday, we're warming things back up with lots of sunshine, so it doesn't take long to warm up. We'll be back to the low 50s on Sunday and again on Monday. And in fact, as you look at the long range forecast for most of next week, the 50s are going to stick around. And in fact, If you were watching me yesterday, I showed the Climate Prediction Center's outlook. They were kind of at equal chances in the long range of above or below average. Well, they've changed that now. The newest update, and I would agree with this a lot more, the newest update is now showing we will likely be above average between the 20th and the 26th of the month. So we're leaning more towards above average temperatures and probably near average precipitation, equal chances of above or below average precipitation as we look towards the, close to the end of the month of February here. Let's take a look at some of the long-range models here. We'll start with the NAM. This is the North American model right here. Most snow today up to our north. Tomorrow, late tonight and into tomorrow, southern South Dakota could see some of that, and it might drift through northern Nebraska. This isn't the main snow event, though. The best chance will come late Thursday night into Friday morning. But notice again, the better chances are still going to be across northern Nebraska. We may not see a whole lot farther south. Now, the NAM is one of the farther north model solutions. I'll tell you that right now, though. Let's take a look at the European model. This is probably the one I would agree with the most when it comes to Thursday night and Friday morning. All right, so here is tomorrow. Again, South Dakota, some snow, maybe skirting by far northern Nebraska. Then comes the next round. This is Thursday late afternoon into Thursday night, northern Nebraska. So this is a little farther south, and this one I do agree with a little bit more. This could leave a few inches of snow in northern Nebraska. Much lighter snow farther south before that clears on out Friday morning. After that, not a lot going on for the weekend. Early next week, maybe some moisture, but right now maybe looking more like rain than anything. Not a lot after that. Most of the moisture stays to our west. GFS model. Let's go ahead to Tuesday here against southern South Dakota. Skirting northern parts of Nebraska with a little bit of snow, but most of it will be in southern South Dakota. Then as we jump ahead to Thursday night, this model's a little farther north than the European is, but notice northern Nebraska still could get on some good snow. We're not going to get as much farther to the south, just a little bit of lighter snow in southern Nebraska, northern Kansas. After that, the weekend looks dry. Maybe a little moisture early next week, we'll see, but there's not a lot showing up in the long-range models till maybe later next week. So that's something worth watching. I will show you a couple of snowfall models. This is the European model, one I'm agreeing with the most right now. It's also probably the most aggressive with snow coming a little farther south. So we might get an inch or two of snow farther south and then higher amounts north. But again, not a major snow, but this is probably the heaviest solution for southern Nebraska. The GFS is not as heavy for southern Nebraska and northern Kansas, but is quite heavy across northern Nebraska. Let's show you the GFS model. Look at that. So that one would bring a higher amount of snow for north central northeast Nebraska, but very low amounts down near the Tri-Cities area. So I do think the bigger impacts will be up north. There could be some blowing snow concerns we'll have to keep an eye on. Around the Tri-Cities, I don't think we'll see much more than an inch or two, and we're probably leaning towards less than an inch. So we'll see how that plays out. One final graphics, or a couple graphics I'm going to show you, temperature trends over the next week and a half. Here's the European model. Again, mild today, tomorrow, then cooling back for Thursday into Friday, a little colder air. Then we warm right back up Saturday and Sunday. And the mild air sticking around most of next week now. It looks like we're going to stay on the mild side next week. So none of that cold air. That cold air looks like it's now going to stay well to our northeast. Let's look at the GFS. Mild air today, tomorrow. Cooler for Thursday and Friday, especially Friday. That's going to be our coldest day. Then we start to warm up Saturday and Sunday just a bit, and warming up even more next week. And even the GFS is somewhat similar, keeping that milder air overhead and keeping the cold air well to our northwest for most of next week. So that's why you see the big change from the Climate Prediction Center when it comes to that mild air in the long range. So I want to thank you all for watching. It's mostly a good news forecast, right? Not too much, just a little hiccup in the forecast here at the end of this week here. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all again on Wednesday morning. Talk to y'all later. Bye.